Meet the actors and artists in America's First Family. A Simpsons episode shown for the first time on the BBC. There are compilations of fantastic Simpsons clips. Matt Groening describes his wasted life. And to round off the evening, you get the chance to vote for your favourite episode. Here are 5 of Matt Groening's favourites. Call and vote for the one you want to see again tonight. If you'd like to see the story of Marge, Men and Bowling in Life in the Fast Lane, call 0900 144 7701. For another chance to see what happens when Bart breaks his leg in Bart of Darkness, call 0900 144 7702. See Bart's old pal run for mayor in Sideshow Bob Roberts, call 0900 144 7703. To watch Homer the Great, the story of the Stonecutters, call 0900 144 7704. And finally, to see Lisa's Wedding, call 0900 144 7705. Calls cost a maximum of 10p, lines close at 8:10, and the winning episode will be shown at 8:45. You can also vote online at www.bbc.co.uk/entertainment. Now for part 1 of tonight's double bill, Krusty Gets Busted. Stay tuned for another excellent episode. There's no disgrace like home. Hope you enjoyed that. Lots left to see, so keep watching for a chance to go behind the scenes and meet the actors, writers and animators. A Simpsons episode new to the BBC. A chance to meet Simpsons creator Matt Groening in My Wasted Life. And the result of your vote. Plus the super clip compilations. Now meet the team responsible for 10 years of The Simpsons in America's First Family.
Oh, Marge, cartoons don't have any deep meaning. They're just stupid drawings that give you a cheap laugh.
The Simpsons is a surprisingly big phenomenon. I mean, nobody's more surprised than the people working on it.
So, any words for the bride and groom?
Not now, Bart. I'm trying to urinate.
I think anytime something like this strikes such a chord and does so well, it's a lot of pieces coming together.
Do the Batman.
This is the longest I've ever done anything, including school.
Do the Batman, man.
I had no clue, no sense that, 10 years later I'd be sitting here doing this interview with you, celebrating this anniversary.
I cannot believe The Simpsons has been on the air for 10 years. It's staggering.
Perfecto. Everybody smile. I'm going to set the automatic timer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly welcome to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, The Simpsons.
The Simpsons may have conquered the world, but they started life as just a tiny gleam in the mind of one offbeat comic strip artist, Matt Groening. The mischievous, yellow-skinned, spiky-haired Bart first drew breath back in 1986. Before The Simpsons walked the earth, Matt's only other taste of success had been as the creator of an underground comic strip, Life in Hell. But he always knew that one day television would come calling.
I was waiting. When is Hollywood going to call me up? Come on, I'm doing this weekly comic strip, and finally, ring, 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 it's James L. Brooks, who loves my strip Life in Hell, and he gives me my first job on the Tracy Ullman Show doing animation. And he said, you can do whatever you want.
James L. Brooks is one of Hollywood's most original television producers, the brains behind series like Taxi and Rhoda. While creating a show around British comedian Tracy Ullman, he decided to commission some short cartoons to place before and after commercial breaks.
We were looking for, we call them bumpers, which go between the acts, and we decided nobody ever tried to make them entertaining, so we tried to make them entertaining. And I had a cartoon that I'd gotten as a gift from somebody that was Matt's cartoon, The Los Angeles Way of Death, the way that people die in Los Angeles, California. And I had remembered this because it was my first exposure to Matt, so we called him in.
Well, The Simpsons really began in the 15 minutes that I had to prepare for a meeting with Jim Brooks to present him with my ideas. I was originally going to do my Life in Hell characters in animated form, and then at the last moment I got scared. I thought, what if this fails miserably? I'll have ruined my characters, I'll go crawling back to my weekly comic strip. So I decided to make up new characters on the spot, hence The Simpsons, named after my own family. I wasn't particularly feeling creative in that 15 minutes, so I quickly named them after my own family. I do have a father named Homer, a mother named Margaret. Marge is close. I thought Marge was a slightly funnier name, and I have two younger sisters, Lisa and Maggie. I thought if I made the main kid Matt, that would be a little too obvious, so I changed him to Bart.
And we just did it in a very loose way, at these little 30-second spots.
Oh, yeah?
How many times do I have to tell you kids? I absolutely forbid burping in this household.
How's it going, everybody? Oops, pardon my French.
What they needed now were voices. Luckily, they didn't have far to look for Homer and Marge.
Dan Castellaneta and myself were there anyway, doing the Tracy show. So they asked us to be the parents. And they hired Nancy Cartwright and Yardley Smith to play the kids. And on the Tracy show, whatever you're handed, you do.
Get in there!
And clean up that mess.
I had done voiceover for radio and television stuff in Chicago, so I had a background doing that. So I guess I think even Tracy had sort of seen it on my resume. She said, "Oh, you do voiceover." So they just used me for that. So I didn't have to audition. I had the part going in.
Where are you, boy?
Oops.
Aha!
I was seen in a play by the casting director, Bonnie Pietola, and I was playing a juvenile delinquent who sang Elvis songs. So how you get from that to Lisa Simpson, I don't know, but that woman has a gift, I'll say. She remembered I had a funny voice, so she brought me in actually to read for Bart. But that was a disaster right from the go, because I just sound way too much like a girl all the time.
I'll be Lisui, the devil-may-care rocket pilot. And you'll be... Bartron, the evil robot from Mars gone berserk.
I remember going in and sitting in this green room and sitting on the couch and seeing you. I picked up the sides for Lisa, and I saw the audition piece, and I saw her face, and I tried to get, a clue of who she was. And it was okay, but it didn't really, goose me enough to say, oh, wow, I really got to have this. But the picture of Bart was sitting in there, and the sides for him, so I picked that up and looked at it. And, I mean, this guy, because he's 10 years old, he argues.
Who cares?
Oh, shut up. You shut up.
He beats his sister up. He gets choked.
Are you ready?
He's a troublemaker.
Come on, Maggie. Take a cookie.
He's antagonistic.
I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you?
I mean, this guy's it's juicy stuff for an actor to, sink their teeth into. I thought, yeah, I want to do him. They, put me on a little cassette recorder. And then, so I read for Bart, and then, you want to read for Lisa? Okay, so I read for that. Well, all right, that's pretty good. And then, a couple of days later, okay, well, let's do that. But you got the part, and you're like, really? And I didn't even know what I was doing.
This is a dorky show, Bart. Change the channel.
No.
Change the channel.
No.
Change the channel.
No.
Change the channel.
No.
Hey! Turn that back on!
Everybody says, how'd you come up with the voice? Well, I don't have that many options. So I just went up, because she's 8. I channeled a 10-year-old yellow-skinned, spiky-headed boy. No, it was mine. It was totally mine.
Ay, caramba!
Bart!
Whoa, Mama!
Bart!
Wow! Now that's what I call the enriching world of...
Not bad.
I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you? He's the #1 guy.
My voice was very tired, as it is now, and I said, well, what about this? I just kind of exaggerated the tiredness, and he said, fine.
Oh, look at that. Our own two husky men snuggled together on the couch.
The drawing of Homer looks different as it does now. Before, he was very floppy, and he had a very big overbite, and he was kind of very deadpan. So I sort of started with a Walter Matthau, kind of a voice like that.
Well, here we are, the whole family, snuggling up, bonding together as only a tightly knit family can. Why, we're more than a...
Dad, you can stop now. Commercial's over and the show's back on.
Oh, and it was just hard to sustain that. It just took a lot of energy. And also the emotions are all over. And so it moved down from the, I don't know, adenoids or whatever, and went down into the throat. It kept dropping down into the throat, and it just sounded a little more dopier. And but it was more comfortable because I could be really sad, and then, oh no, there's no more donuts. Ooh, there's one under the couch.
Catch this one, and we all get chocolate milkshakes.
If you want to know why the early Simpsons on the Tracy Ullman Show look so weird, it's because I didn't know what I was doing. I just would draw little sketches to give to the animators. I thought they were going to clean them up and make them look like professional cartoons. It turns out that all they were doing was tracing my drawings.
They may not have looked like any other cartoon, but The Simpsons proved so popular that Fox took a leap into the void and gave Matt his very own full-length show.
That boy just don't listen.
To air The Simpsons, Fox had to commit $10 million to produce 13 episodes before they saw a single one. And then again, it was people producing it who had never done a show, an animated show half an hour long. All that had been done was the shorts.
Fox finally, got the idea that this would make a good series, but they were a little hesitant at first because primetime animation was something that hadn't been seen on American television for about a generation.
When I got my job in The Simpsons, my partner and I joined because no one else we knew wanted the job. It was almost a dead end in terms of animation. Was just totally dead on prime time. Nothing had succeeded since the Flintstones 20 years earlier. And what encouraged me about the show was that James Brooks and Sam Simon, Matt Groening were really talented. The stories that they were already working out seemed hilarious, and the characters were great. The shorts were really funny. So I thought, if this gets on the air, I think it actually could turn a few heads.
Good one, Dad.
Okay, kids, prepare to be dazzled. Marge, turn on the juice.
And so by Christmas 1989, the first ever episode of The Simpsons was broadcast. And it turned more than a few heads.
Hey, Simpson!
What is it, Flanders?
Oh, do you think this looks okay?
Oh, neato.
It's too bright.
Here was something that was smart and funny and hip and original and reminded us that something that's really family entertainment will appeal to the least sophisticated member of the audience and the most sophisticated member of the audience on different levels.
This was just what the upstart Fox network needed, a completely unexpected hit. It put them on the map, as well as creating a bonanza for the spin-off industry.
One of the most delightful aspects of Simpsons mania in the early 1990s was how many different groups appropriated Bart Simpson. There were black Bart t-shirts. There was a t-shirt with Bart shaking hands with Nelson Mandela. There were Irish Bart t-shirts. There were Mexican Bart t-shirts. There were vegetarian Bart t-shirts that said, "Don't eat a cow, man." There were pro-Gulf War t-shirts with Bart standing on Saddam Hussein's head. There were anti-war t-shirts with Bart protesting the war. It was amazing how many people could take this cute little guy and make him their own.
He said, "Whoa, mama."
There was no stopping Fox now. They went for broke by scheduling The Simpsons right opposite America's then #1 hit, The Cosby Show. Two TV families slugged it out. One aspirational and upwardly mobile, the other not.
Lord, before we peel the foil back from your bounty, we ask you to watch over...
And it was the downwardly mobile Simpsons that finally won.
It held its own. It did really well. It ended that season in the top 10, so I think that's quite an impressive feat. And that was a big message, it caused a little stir. The contrast was so severe, just seeing on literally, you flip the channel to NBC, you see happy Cosby family, and then just pure bedlam on Fox with The Simpsons.
Rod, Todd, this is God. How did you get on the radio?
By the end of the first series, the world had a new star, Bart.
Stupid kids. Forgive my brother. Will you believe you? Talk is cheap. Perhaps a test of thy faith. Walk through the wall. I will remove it for you. Later. Jingle bells, jingle bells.
Bart! Why are you doing that?
Well, stick around, Mr. Bond. Things are really starting to cook.
Bart may have underachieved for America, but his attitude and his catchphrases made him irresistible.
Don't have a cow, Dad. Get bent. Ay, caramba! Eat my shorts. Hey, give me some of that.
But The Simpsons was never a cartoon meant just for kids. While children of all ages latched onto Bart, everybody else had the grown-ups to identify with.
Bart was always the publicity focus of the show, but in my heart, I always knew that Homer was the man, because Homer, first of all, there were more consequences when Homer did bad things. I mean, he was going to cause a meltdown and maybe ruin, all of Springfield.
Okay, don't panic. Whatever problem this is, I'm sure they know how to handle it. Huh? Ah! It's my problem! We're doomed!
Sector 7G is now being isolated.
Look at this. Look at this character. He's got the donut, he's got the cake, he's got more cake. He's happy. He is admitting what we all crave.
Caramels, waffle batter, liquid smoke. Ooh, waffle runoff.
He enjoys the things that we all wish we could enjoy, except we feel guilty about.
Fattening.
You couldn't have Homer without Marge, and Marge has the thankless role on the show. She's the one who says, I don't think that's a good idea, Homie, or, things like that. But without somebody pulling Homer in once in a while or giving him a reason to care, the show wouldn't work.
Of all the terrible things you've ever done in your life, this is the worst, the most despicable.
But Marge, I swear to you, I never thought you'd find out.
She's the anchor of the family. I think she's the one that holds everything together because it is so fragile, as a lot of families are.
Could I have 2 slices of bologna?
Yes, enough! There you go, Lisa. No pimentos. Bart, your hat's where you left it, behind the toilet. Homer, I'll sew your pants, but I'm out of bologna.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom. Don't.
In contrast to the rest of her family, Lisa was the only Simpson to be burdened with intelligence and sensitivity.
A lot of people really identify with Lisa on the show as kind of the moral center of the show.
I'm telling you, Flanders' store was deserted.
Dad, do you know what Schadenfreude is?
No, I do not know what Schadenfreude is. Please tell me, because I'm dying to know.
It's a German term for shameful joy, taking pleasure in the suffering of others.
Oh, come on, Lisa. I'm just glad to see him fall flat on his butt.
She's a genius. She's a prodigy. She takes a stand on any number of issues, but she's 8. And I think as soon as you lose the childlike charm of her, then she becomes insufferable.
I'm just wondering, what's the point? Would it make any difference at all if I never existed? How can we sleep at night when there's so much suffering in the world?
Well, come on, Lisa, ride the Homer horsey. Giddy up, whee!
Along with the dummy-sucking, baby-escapee Maggie, the Simpsons inhabit Springfield, a living, breathing, all-American town. A place rich in spiritual life.
My friends, the devil walks among us.
I got him!
A town for all generations.
Well, well, if it isn't the Tooth Fairy.
With vigilant local cops.
Isn't that cute? A baby driving a car. And look, there's a dog driving a bus.
And impregnable jails.
All right, time for a crime spree.
Harboring a love that dare not speak its name.
I love you, Smithers. Feeling is more than mutual, sir.
Where the young are hungry for knowledge.
Wait a minute! You didn't learn how World War II ended.
We won!
The local media are fearless.
Tonight on Eye on Springfield, we meet a man who's been hiccuping for 45 years.
Kill me. Kill me.
The economic slump began last spring when the government closed Fort Springfield, devastating the city's liquor and prostitution industries.
A town bursting with high culture.
Will there be beer?
Friendly neighborhood grocers.
Ooh, good.
This is not a library.
A library.
This is not a quickie mart.
Fast food.
Oh.
A city that never sleeps.
Sometimes you gotta go where everybody knows your name. Hey, guys!
In short, a whole universe and a cast of thousands.
I think one of the secret weapons of the show are all the secondary characters. Apu, Mo in Mo's bar, Barney the barfly, Principal Skinner's mom.
The growth of the show has been partly due just to the richness of the universe. The fact that, you know, when you're watching Frasier and it's a great show, you still think it's going to be some permutation of those basic characters that they have. Where with our show, you have no idea what you're going to get every week.
All voiced by the same inner core of actors who play the principal characters.
The first voice I ever did was Mo the bartender, and I was doing kind of a bad Pacino impression. I was kind of talking like this, sort of like this. And I did that voice for Mo, and Matt Groening actually said, we see it as more gravelly, so I just made it like this.
When I get a hold of you, I'm gonna use your head for a bucket and paint my house with your brain.
I do Krusty the Clown.
Hey, kids. When I came on, they said I wouldn't last a week. And you know where those reviewers are? All dead.
These hot dogs have been here for 3 years. They are strictly ornamental.
I don't know why that voice is so funny. It's kind of lilting, and it just, for some reason, it's talking this way is very pleasing to people. I don't know why it is.
There's only one bozo who comes in and buys them.
But I eat... Oh.
My personal favorite is Ralph Wiggum. My cat's breath smells like cat food.
Shh! I've been here 2 hours, and Bart still hasn't finded me.
And I do Grandpa Simpson.
In my day, we didn't have anything.
Bart, is that light green?
Yeah?
It better be.
Now, please, I can assure you we'll be using the most advanced scientific techniques in the field of body finding. Wiggum always has to come out of the side of my mouth. I don't know why.
Why don't you come on over to my house and put your hands on the gun? Never hurts to get a second set of prints. It's Nelson Muntz. That's my dad's shooting car. Just 3 more payments and it's ours.
Hey, what's this?
A sneeze guard.
Wow, it really works.
Barney Gumble.
Hey, Homer, could you lend me $5 for a beer?
Lou the Cop kind of sounds like Stallone.
And Cinderella had the most beautiful gown at the ball, with 8 satin petticoats, each more delicate than the last.
Mayor Quimby, not to be confused with anybody whose last name is Kennedy.
I propose that I use what's left of the town treasury to move to a more prosperous town and run for mayor. And once elected, I will send for the rest of you.
There's Todd Flanders, or Rod. I'm not sure if I'm Todd or Rod.
I've got the joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart to stay. I get to anoint his feet.
Groundskeeper Willie, I'm not cleaning up that mess. No, sir. Will you get a hold of yourself, lass, for the wee parents?
I enjoy doing Professor Frink.
Because I'm a big Jerry Lewis fan, and for some reason, I could talk like this all day. Nice try, Floyd, but you were designed for scrubbing, and scrubbing is what you shall do.
Springfield may be another all-American Pleasantville, but its magnetic pull is strong, and Hollywood's finest cannot resist.
Hello, can I help you?
Agents Mulder and Scully, FBI.
We've had a mix of celebrities on the show. Sometimes they play themselves.
Leonard Nimoy, what are you doing here?
Wherever there is mystery and the unexplained, cosmic forces shall draw me near.
Miss Taylor, a couple of grade school kids wanted you to be on a Krusty special. I told them to buzz off.
Good. Wow, Paul McCartney. I read about you in history class.
Usually they prefer to play a character, I think, or to play themselves in a different way than people know them.
My partner and I did write a show starring Michael Jackson that we liked, where Lisa was having a bad birthday, and he wrote a song for the show to give her as a present. That was really neat.
Lisa, it's your birthday.
last you this day. You gave me the gift of a little sister, and I'm proud of you today.
Michael Jackson was a big fan of the show, and I just thought it was so brilliant to have Michael Jackson portrayed as a big, insane white guy who thought he was Michael Jackson. I think that was one of the most brilliant uses of a celebrity.
Wow. How do you do that thing with your feet?
The moonwalk?
No, that thing with your feet.
Here, look, just raise your heel a bit and put a little pressure on the ball of your foot.
Uh-huh.
Like The Muppets some years ago, it's a show that a lot of actors want to do because it's something they can share with their kids, and it's something very hip and funny.
I'm a Simpsons fan, and I was flattered when they asked me to do it.
Tom Jones?
Yes?
I was wondering if you'd be interested in performing at a private party.
Sorry, mate, I don't do private parties. I like my drawing, yes. I thought it was good because, you know, when somebody's going to make a cartoon out of you, you don't know what it's going to look like. It was fine. It did a good job. I mean, it looked like me. I mean, it was a cartoon of me, but I think you could tell who it was.
Get help, love. Call Interpol. Get me a hacksaw. Anything.
Everybody in my house laughed like hell.
It happens every day, no matter what you say.
They've had all three surviving Beatles. They've had Elizabeth Taylor. They've had Mel Gibson. You know, an array of voices that ordinarily no television show would think of approaching or could afford.
I got it! Homer, are you okay?
I think so. No.
I went to one of those test screenings one night. I was bursting. I hadn't been to the men's room, and I was like, oh, gee, I'm just going to sneak out the back door and take a leak behind the dumpster, I said. So that actually somebody told them that I did that once, so they put it into the episode. Listen, I don't want to get spotted by the crowd, so I'm going to take a leak behind the dumpster.
Look, it's Mel Gibson. Hey, everybody, rush over there.
Well, all the guest stars we have on the show read what they're going to do ahead of time. So anytime someone says, look, I wouldn't want to do this particular thing, we don't make them do it.
Bonnie, you've been riding my back all night.
Oh, yeah? Gonna step outside?
Let's do it.
One change we had to make, for example, is we had Joe Frazier on the show, and the scene we wrote had him losing a fight to Barney, and he said, Joe Frazier doesn't lose to Barney. So we had him win the fight, and he agreed to do the show.
All right, a peanut!
The creators of the show work to one basic rule. The Simpsons is never a mere cartoon.
I think there was a counterculture sensitivity to the show that Matt added right from the beginning that we were all trying to emulate. And I think what Jim Brooks added was this real warmth and humanness to the characters that you can see in his work, like the Mary Tyler Moore show. And, you know, put together those two elements really made something that was unusual in TV for its time.
The whole idea was to take animation and make it adhere to the same rules we followed, you know, in a live-action series. To care about our characters, to care about their history, to care about our story.
It was very important to establish to the audience that this was a real family and that you could actually be emotionally moved by the show, which did happen in a surprising way.
Goodbye, son.
Wait, Dad! Don't do it!
And they achieve this by making sure that what they do is less cartoonish than the usual TV animation.
I love you, Dad!
I love you too, son. You know, boy, I don't think I've ever felt as close to you as I do right now.
We have what I call rubber band reality. We have our rules. The characters obey. They don't get to walk off cliffs and walk on the air until they realize that they're walking in, and then they fall to their doom the way they do in, say, Roadrunner cartoons. Our characters skateboard off cliffs, and they think they're going to make it all the way across.
I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it.
There's some aerodynamic principle at work.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Then they fall. And when they hit the side of the cliff on the way down, they feel pain. And they feel it in a way that you don't usually get in cartoons. When we're putting together the sound effects, we don't have boings and bleeps and whomps and all crazy sound effects. We have as realistic sound effects as we can get. For some reason, it's funnier.
Only then can they really let their imaginations rip.
One of the great things about having an animated sitcom, unlike a live-action show, we can draw anything we want to.
We understand, Homer. After all, we are from the land of chocolate.
The land of chocolate.
We can do any fantasy, flashback, flash forward, hallucination. We can actually show the shows that the family is watching. On a regular sitcom, you can't do that. You just have the family looking at an off-screen TV and you have some sounds. But we can actually show Itchy and Scratchy and all the rest of that stuff. It's great.
Oh, I heard about this. This is the one where Scratchy finally gets itchy. Wow.
But in one sense, the world of The Simpsons is all too real. Springfield's top-rated show is, of course, a cartoon, the ultra-violent Itchy and Scratchy.
The irony of it is not lost on people my age who are familiar with Tom and Jerry. I do worry sometimes that kids who have no idea what the reference is, that they accept it just at face value.
I don't think that Itchy and Scratchy would have gotten on the air in undiluted format. And the fact is, you only see a few seconds of Itchy and Scratchy.
My purpose in life is to witness this moment.
I can't tell you the number of fan letters we get from people who think that Itchy and Scratchy should have their own show, and I don't think they really want what they're asking for.
The TV! The TV!
Wow! They'll never let us show that again. Not in a million years.
A lot of the humor in the show comes from having writers who are smart, very aware, and very sort of tuned in to what's going on around them, who pick up on catchphrases and fads.
Bud Wise. Bud Wise. Course.
And who also have a good knowledge of not only animation history, but film history, so that they can spoof various genres and even individual films.
We have a place for babies like you. The box.
An advantage of being such a long-running series is the chance it offers to repeat and build on favourite gags.
Is Al there?
Al?
Yeah, Al. Last name, Alcoholic.
Let me check. Phone call for Al. Alcoholic. Jock Strap. Is IP Freely here? Hey, is there a Butts here? Seymour Butts? Homosexual? My crotch?
Amanda Hug and Kiss. That's a good one. I need Amanda Hug and Kiss.
Amanda Hug and Kiss? Huge ass. Ivana Tinkle. I'm a stupid moron with an ugly face and a big butt, and my butt smells, and I like to kiss my own butt.
There's also a much more sophisticated level of humor that's being played, much of it verbal, that's satirizing politicians and the fads and foibles of society and of show business. And that all makes it a very appealing package.
Hey, how come the Smithsonian needs to be sponsored by a cell phone company?
I can answer that. Uncle Sam needs to spend our tax dollars on the essentials. Anti-tobacco programs, pro-tobacco programs, killing wild donkeys, and Israel.
Good old government.
I think that the basic rule for any Simpsons writer is, first and foremost, you have to have a healthy disrespect for everything Americans hold dear.
America's greatest citizen summed up in one piece of clothing.
Fonzie's jacket!
I think the show is also about questioning authority and not accepting things at face value, showing the other side of things.
Apu, I see you're not in church.
Oh, but I am. I have a shrine to Ganesha, the god of worldly wisdom, located in the employee lounge.
Hey, Ganesha, want a peanut?
Please do not offer my god a peanut.
No offense, Apu, but when they were handing out religions, you must have been out taking a whiz.
For me, what's great about The Simpsons is that we have no sacred cows. We can make fun of anyone we want, any religion we want, any group. And it's fun to make fun of people in power.
I know you don't think you're good enough for me, but believe me, you are. Hell, I've done it with pigs. Real no fooling pigs.
Are you sure it's a federal law that I have to dance with you?
The show is set up in a unique way. When James L. Brooks and Matt Groening first set the show up with Fox, it was set up in a way where the studio and the network would not be involved in the creative process. Normally, they would be allowed to come to each script reading and give notes, and you would have to get every story approved. And without that in the way, we're pretty much free to do whatever we want.
This Friday, we're going back to the woods and we're going to find that alien.
What if we don't?
We'll fake it and sell it to the Fox network.
They'll buy anything.
Now, son, they do a lot of quality programming, too.
If there's any kind of overall message I think we have with The Simpsons, it's not a specific progressive political message, but it's an overall very important message. Your leaders don't always have your best interests in mind. Your teachers, your religious leaders, your political leaders, your spiritual leaders, they may be flawed.
Why the crap do we have to go to church anyway?
You just answered your own question with that commode mouth. Besides, you kids need to learn morals and decency and how to love your fellow man.
And with flaming swords, the Aramites did pierce the eyes of their fellow men and did feast on what flowed forth.
One of the great things about having a fad that was as intense as The Simpsons is that there are these people that take the bait and they get upset and then they criticize the show, and that makes it more exciting. I mean, it's just a TV show. It's a cute little cartoon.
Cartoons don't have messages, Lisa. They're just a bunch of hilarious stuff, you know, like people getting hurt and stuff like that. Oh.
George Bush, I think at the Republican convention in '92, said they wanted a family. He wanted America to consist of families that were more like the Waltons than the Simpsons.
We are going to keep on trying to strengthen the American family to make American families a lot more like the Waltons and a lot less like the Simpsons.
Huh? So we had Bart say,
"We're just like the Waltons. We're praying for an end to the Depression, too."
One of the most delightful things about doing The Simpsons is that we answer all these conservative critics about television. They want families who go to church. The Simpsons go to church. They want families who pray. The Simpsons pray. They want families who have God in their lives. Not only do the Simpsons have God in their lives, we actually show God. And yet they're not thankful.
God? Thou hast forsaken my church.
Well, kind of, but
what?
I'm not a bad guy. I work hard and I love my kids. So why should I spend half my Sunday hearing about how I'm going to hell?
You've got a point there.
We also show the devil. We show hell as a literal flaming place, and Bart has gone there several times in the course of the series. What more do these people want?
Say, is there anything I can do to avoid coming back here?
Oh, sure, yeah, but, you wouldn't like it.
Oh, okay. See you later, then.
Goodbye, Bart. Remember, lie, cheat, steal, and listen to heavy metal music.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of heart in The Simpsons. The family genuinely loves each other. They really care about what each other thinks, and they stick together.
He's awake!
Oh, Bart, we thought for a minute you'd gone away from us.
And I think that point has been lost on a lot of the critics of the show who kind of blamed The Simpsons for being a dysfunctional family, and I think they were forgetting the part that they were still a family, while a lot of other families don't survive marriages. The Simpsons do.
With an imaginary world as rich and as varied as this, it's no surprise that the making of The Simpsons is a complicated process. It all begins with a large team of writers poring over every last line of script.
Most of the writers are failed pre-meds or people who initially weren't setting out to be sitcom writers. A lot of them came from Variety, like The Letterman Show. And it helped, especially in the beginning, that it wasn't something that was just trying to do the same old jokes in the same old way. It was a staff that was sharp and really approached TV with a sort of aggressive guerrilla attitude. It might be funny when the bus is peeling out to have the band guy go, "We got a ride!"
The team do up to 8 rewrites before they consider it ready to be performed.
They didn't change the original.
This is a little more rustic than I expected.
Before a single drawing is begun, the actors come together to record the voices.
The Krusty brand seal of approval. You can only find it on products which meet the high personal standards of Krusty the Clown.
This looks... Ow!
dear, I should have warned you about that. That clock gets incredibly hot if you leave it plugged in.
That's okay. You got any Krusty brand ointment?
As for the matter of my honorarium, you know, my emolument, pay me.
Only now can the animators begin blocking out the scenes.
I could have gotten Rick Dees for that.
What we start with is the script, wherein lies the dialogue and all the description of the action. And the dialogue is recorded by the actors onto a voice track. And that's sent over to us, and we make a storyboard. And we see Homer working on his car, and then we cut to him.
A man innocently changes his oil when a 2-ton
Pan over to Bart, who's videotaping Homer. And then we cut in close.
crashing down. Oh.
The storyboarding phase is probably the most important phase for the animation, because you're going to decide how things look. You're going to decide how jokes are staged and how reveals are revealed to the audience.
Meanwhile, a team of designers create new characters, props and locations.
We probably have up to 15,000 characters designed at this point, and also 15,000 props and probably 20,000 backgrounds. So it's like we've designed a whole world.
And nobody is allowed to stray from Matt's rules for drawing The Simpsons.
All cartoons have their own little rules. On The Simpsons, our rules are when we draw eyeballs, eyeballs are always looking in the same direction, or if we want to indicate sort of some sort of angst or alienation, they go wall-eyed. They do not, on The Simpsons, ever do this. We don't have that goofy, ooh, I'm goofy and crazy. Or we don't ever do this. We don't do the cross-eyed look either. It's just part of the rule.
One thing that Matt Groening always stressed from the beginning was to be observational, where when we're creating Springfield, it kind of has elements that everyone can relate to. The Quickie Mart, Moe's Bar, the Krusty Burger, which was kind of based on a McDonald's, which everyone knows. Even the Springfield Town Hall was a combination between a town hall in my hometown in New England and Thomas Jefferson's Monticello in Virginia.
So here we go. Here's the scene translated from the storyboard into the animation. We have the background is at the size it's going to be painted at. We have Bart videotaping Homer. We have Homer on the dolly working on the car. We have the oil filter. We have to animate the oil filter. We need to know what that looks like. And then we have Homer's hand tightening the oil filter, and we have two drawings here to show how it's going to move.
Once the layout drawings are complete, the outlines are shot under a camera and linked up to the voice track to produce what is called an animatic. This allows the creative team to see the show in rough and make changes before the real animation begins.
Changes, time to change the oil. Changes.
A man innocently changes his oil when a 2-ton car comes crashing down. Crashing down. Oh. Who'd have thought you could hold up a car with a wicker basket?
I'm here live in Korea to give you a first-hand look at how American cartoons are made.
Like many American television cartoons, The Simpsons' final artwork is done in Korea, where the laborious process of hand finishing is much more economical. Here, each individual frame is inked and painted by a team of artists, using copious amounts of yellow paint.
To create a single episode of The Simpsons, I would say there's probably 20,000 to 30,000 drawings in each episode, depending on the difficulty of the episode. So we can have as many as 400 people working on it just to get that episode to air.
The painted cells are filmed and the now moving images sent back to the US. The creative team then get their first sneak preview of the show.
Shut up, Becky! There, I finally said it.
Now all that remains to be added is the music, Another huge production number. A 35-piece orchestra performs a specially composed soundtrack.
My approach has always been to score the emotion first. And that's very, very different from the bulk of animated television series that you'll see today, where, you know, if somebody pops somebody in the face with an elbow or pops him in the nose or winks or something like that, every one of those little things are usually caught with the Mickey Mousing approach of scoring, you know, bing, you know, one of those things. But we don't do that. We always score the emotion first, and I think that is what made the musical intertwining in the episode so successful.
All this fish represents is just how selfish you are.
Well, if that's the way you feel, I'll throw it back.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Watch! Whoa, I did it. I gave up fame and breakfast for my marriage. I fought it for 6 hours. She says one word and I toss it back. And you're telling me our marriage is in trouble? Come here, baby.
Oh, Homer.
It's kind of an interesting existence in that if the audience doesn't notice the underscore music consciously, then we've done our job successfully.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The result is a show with near global appeal.
Very good.
The Simpsons is broadcast in over 100 countries worldwide.
みんな何買った？
俺このペンシルホルダー。
水パイプか。タイマーなんか何年も見てないな。
I'm pretty baffled by the fact that The Simpsons is so popular all over the world. When it works in Japanese or whatever other language, I'm glad, but I can't explain it.
Je cherche Monsieur Homer Simpson.
Mais ça tombe bien, j'ai deux mots à te dire.
Ben lui en parle. Marthe, arrête. Et toi, pas va se faire botter le cul par Mel Gibson. Fais-lui une grosse tête, Homer.
The Simpsons may be an all-American family obsessed with TV, beer and donuts, but the show's humour thrives even when translated into over 30 different languages.
C'est une bague qui prouve qu'elle est ma propriété, qu'elle est à moi.
First of all, you can loop the dialogue, so you can have people in whatever native tongue is spoken hired to play the characters and be really funny, and it doesn't look grafted on.
Mel Gibson a besoin de moi. Mel Gibson.
Je croyais que tu détestais.
Écrase.
I think that the physical humor that animation provides is universal. I think it plays everywhere. And I think that just the subject matter, the fact that it's this family who has all these typical foibles, is something that is pretty much universal.
Aber bitte bleib doch sitzen, Schatz. Heute werden die Männer den Tisch abräumen. Lebt wohl, Hühnerbeinchen.
Jawohl, Fatze Hölle, Rosenkohl.
Götterspeise wollen wir nicht.
Dann gute Reise, feines Porzellan.
Bob!
I think there's a two-part double whammy message in The Simpsons. One is that you can see yourself in the show, and the other thing is you can look at Homer Simpson and you go, well, at least I'm not as bad as him. So it's a simultaneous identification with the characters and a feeling of superiority. It's like, as bad as you have it, you don't have it as bad as Homer.
The success of The Simpsons has sparked a run of other animations designed for adult audiences.
Wow, poor Kenny. Now do you believe us, Cartman? No. Cartman, they killed Kenny. He's not dead. Dude, Kenny is dead. See? Shut up, you guys. He's dead, Cartman.
As the years went on, Beavis and Butthead came, and South Park came, and suddenly we were Ozzie and Harriet, and now we're the show that American families sit down together and watch the show.
I think we're part of the culture now. We're not counterculture. I mean, we're part of the culture. You sit down, you want to have a conversation waiting for an airplane someplace. You talk about The Simpsons, somebody's going to talk to you.
I don't want, you know, Bart Simpson graffiti on my tombstone, you know. I want some other graffiti, you know. So that's why I do Futurama and some of the other stuff that I've been working on.
JFK Jr. Airport.
Cool. Crosstown Express?
I wanted to do another animated TV show just to see if I could do it again, just see if I could pull it off and learn from what I had learned on The Simpsons. And I thought it'd be really fun to take a fantasy genre like science fiction and just go to town with it.
With Matt busy working on Futurama and plans for a Simpsons feature film being considered, what life is there left in a series 10 years old?
Tourist. Right now we're talking about, in addition to season 12, which is upcoming, doing maybe 13 and 14. And with the richness of the universe, as long as the actors were interested in doing it, I think there'd always be writers who would want to work on it and be motivated to do their best. And there are so many characters, it could go on for a number of years.
Dear, I should have warned you about that. That clock gets incredibly hot if you leave it plugged in.
Certainly, I'd be happy to do it for as long as it goes on. As long as it's good. I think everybody feels like, why not keep doing it as long as the quality remains high.
Now the effort of writing has made me lightheaded, so I close by saying, save us! Save us now!
They're brilliant. They do great things, and it's really, it's the best ticket in town, I think.
Just remember, you're getting paid by the note, all right? By the note that's in place. You're going to be finished.
I love doing it. I love the group of people. I love the writing. So as an actor, it's great.
Why do I always think of the perfect thing to say when it's too late? Shut up,
I can take doing this show as long as they want to dish it out.
I want to get together sometime with Paul McCartney and say, was it hard after the Beatles? You know, The Simpsons has been such an amazing phenomenon that I know I'll never top it. We were in the right place at the right time with the right group of people, and it's a fantastic, fun, wonderful experience that hasn't ended yet.
Marge, I'm confused. Is this a happy ending or a sad ending?
It's an ending. That's enough.
Okay, when I first drew Bart Simpson, I almost always drew him kind of angry. And I think I gave him a lot of spikes on his hair, and they're bigger. But that's the way he originally started out. And now, the problem is, I can draw him, and it's me trying to imitate the professional look of the animators who know actually how to draw The Simpsons, but I can't really draw them correctly. I mean, if I were applying for a job to animate The Simpsons today, I would not be hired.
And now, for the first time on BBC Two, Springfield's favourite shopkeeper in Much Apu About Nothing. Next on BBC Two, even more Simpsons to watch. Here on BBC Two, it's time for more Simpsons Night. Still to come, a chance to spend half an hour with Simpsons creator Matt Groening and find out which episode gets your vote, plus some comic clip compilations. If you still haven't voted for the episode you'd like to see later in the evening, then call now. Here are 5 of Matt Groening's favourites to choose from. If you'd like to see the story of Marge, Men and Bowling in Life in the Fast Lane, call 0900 144 7701. For another chance to see what happens when Bart breaks his leg in Bart of Darkness, call 0900 144 7702. To see Bart's old pal run for mayor in Sideshow Bob Roberts, call 0900 144 7703. To watch Homer the Great, the story of the Stonecutters, call 0900 144 7704. And finally, to see Lisa's Wedding, call 0900 144 7705. Calls cost a maximum of 10p. Lines close at 8:10. You can also vote online at www.bbc.co.uk/entertainment. Now for some of those comic clip compilations starting with Springfield's own mad professor.
Good morning, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. It passed noon while I was speaking, so that was technically accurate.
He's crazy.
This radio-controlled plane gives your baby the chance to fly, just like my son here. He can execute the barrel roll, loop-de-loop, then bring it in for the perfect landing. Oh, dear. My wife is going to kill me. Gentlemen, your attention, please. I am detecting a gigantic amphibious life form. It's 80 meters long, and it's heading this way. Oh, good grief, and it's on my shoe. It's a small frog. Just get off. Just get off there. Just get out of it. Get out of it. Stupid machine. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't the monsterometer. It's the frog exaggerator. Right. Well, it's not your original bear, of course. Hey, but it is programmed to be just as cuddly. Oh, doggone it. It's supposed to be doing a little dance.
I got him.
Trying to turn it off.
No, bear want to live.
Well, as you can see, when the burglar trips the alarm, the house raises from its foundations and runs down the street and around the corner to safety. Well, the real humans won't burn quite so fast in there. Right. Well, as you can see, I have created a lemon ball so sour, it can only be safely contained in a magnetic field. The candy, known as 77X42, is great. Where the hell is the candy?
I don't know.
Cool. High-tech security system. $250? But I need that album to honor the memory of Bleeding Gums Murphy.
He's dead? Well, why didn't you say so?
Oh.
Yes, finally. I would like to return your quote-unquote ultimate belt. I see. Do you have a receipt? Quote-unquote, sir? No, I do not have a receipt. I won it as a door prize at the Star Trek convention, although I find their choice of prize highly illogical, as the average Trekker has no use for a medium-sized belt. Fat, sarcastic Star Trek fan. You must be a devil with the ladies.
Pardon me, but I wish to tender a serious cash offer for this stack of water-damaged little Lulus.
A, that is not water, it is Diet Mr. Pibb. And B, Ooh. Tell me, how do you feel about 45-year-old virgins who still live with their parents?
Comb the sweet tarts out of your beard and you're on.
Don't try to change me, baby. Oh, Captain Janeway. Lace, the final brassiere. I insist you take special care with my collection of valuable and humorous bumper stickers, particularly this one, which was given to me by a Harrison Ford look-alike. No hablo inglés, señor.
Put it all on my credit card, my good man.
Oh, pardon me, Santos, if that is your real name, Bart Simpson, but your phony credit card is no good here. Now make like my pants and split. I'm interested in upgrading my 28.8 kilobaud internet connection to a 1.5 megabit fiber optic T1 line. Will you be able to provide an IP router that's compatible with my token ring Ethernet LAN configuration? I'll bet I get blamed for this. But Aquaman, you cannot marry a woman without gills. You're from two different worlds. Oh, I've wasted my life.
And now on BBC Two, a chance to meet the man responsible for it all. A man who thinks he really has wasted his life. The creator of The Simpsons, Matt Groening.
It's in here, it's in here. Beaver, for goodness sake. Look, Dad.
The Leave It to Beaver show.
I spent my entire childhood watching TV, I was mesmerized and consumed by bland family sitcoms as a kid. Loved Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best. And my teachers and my guidance counselor were saying, "You're wasting your life. You're not going to go anywhere with that. That's not going to get you anywhere." And so I said, I'm going to make use of all that time. It's not just wasted time, it's research. I thought about what kind of show I would like to see, what kind of show would be successful on TV.
Time for dinner.
And all the things that turned me on as a kid that I didn't get to see or I got little glimpses of, I tried to put into The Simpsons. And I thought other people would like it too.
You, feel okay?
I guess so.
Come here, boy.
Oh, man.
No! I just want to have a heart-to-heart talk.
Oh.
This is good stuff. I want to share something with you. The 3 little sentences that will get you through life. Number 1, cover for me. Number 2, oh, good idea, boss. Number 3, it was like that when I got here.
Hey, this is good stuff.
Told you. Now, come on, you're going to learn how to shave.
I feel a little vindicated, and yet I still hear those voices in my head. You know, you are wasting your life.
Your destiny awaits!
I had a pretty idyllic upbringing because my father was a cartoonist and filmmaker, and we had cartoon books throughout the house, and my father loved animated cartoons. So I was inundated with pop culture from as long as I can remember, from before I could read. I had the worst of all worlds, I think, because I was glued to the TV, I was totally addicted, and yet I thought it was horrible. I mean, even as a kid, I knew this was bad. I mean, I had my hopes. With each new fall season, when the new shows came on, I was like so excited. And then I would be so devastated when I saw the actual shows. For instance, I was really, really excited by the premiere of the TV show Dennis the Menace, which came on, I believe, in 1960. And the show started out with this animated opening sequence with this tornado, this human tornado coming in, spinning in. And then the name of the show was Dennis the Menace. There was a kid on TV who was a menace. I was so thrilled by the idea of any kid who was actually bad and naughty. And then it turned out to be this namby-pamby thing. I think the kid had a slingshot. I don't think he ever used it, or they never showed him using it. So disappointed.
Beaver, eat your Brussels sprouts.
Leave It to Beaver, great show. Very bland, really straight down the middle. Great acting. The best character, not Beaver, not his brother, but Eddie Haskell. Eddie Haskell was this mean, sarcastic, two-faced teenager who just made me vibrate with happiness every time he was on screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
Oh, that's all right, Eddie.
Well, I hope I didn't interrupt whatever you were peeking at.
We were peeking at Beaver, Eddie. We just wanted to make sure he finished his dinner, that's all.
Well, I guess if you can't trust a child, you do have to spy on him.
And I thought, wouldn't it be neat to make a disobedient, bad character the main character of a show? And I thought to myself as a kid, when that kid is older and he has his own kid, that kid should have his TV show, and it should be called Son of Eddie Haskell. And really, that's what The Simpsons is. Bart Simpson is the son of Eddie Haskell. Flash forward 30 years later.
I just want to entertain.
I think out of all the TV shows that I watched as a kid, my most favorite was Ozzie and Harriet, because there was something very real about the show. The people were really, really rigid and repressed and uptight.
All right, dear. Dig in.
What the heck is this?
Well, you're only allowed 500 calories for dinner. I'm sorry, dear, but this diet was your idea.
Well, I know, but holy smokes, you could drop this in your eye.
For me, shows like Ozzie and Harriet showed that you could take total normalcy, total bland, straight down the middle, middle American, white blandness. Not even bland is the word that comes to mind. And you can actually still have fun with it. You can actually do things with it. And in a way, The Simpsons is that mutated and transmogrified and taking into account some of the contradictions which were not acknowledged in television at the time when I was watching it as a kid.
Morning, honey.
So good about it, I'm stuck at the house by the stove.
Lisa, I know you're down on homemaking, but it can really let you be creative. See, this morning I turned bacon, eggs, and toast into a nice smiley face for Bart and Homer.
What's the point? They'll never notice.
Oh, well, you'd be surprised.
The sitcoms that I grew up with presented a sort of weird zombified ideal of the American family, and it didn't relate to anyone I knew in reality.
How was everything today, dear?
Terrible.
What happened?
Meetings with parents all day. As school principal, I can handle the children, but the parents get me down.
And the people I knew in real life, they actually like smiled and laughed and did unpredictable things. And I thought, wouldn't it be neat to combine that yearning to do the right thing with the way people really acted?
Mom, Bart's making faces at me. It's a nervous twitch, and I'm a little sensitive about it, if you don't mind. Mom, he's doing it again. Bart, quit it. Quit it. Hey, quit it, quit it, quit it, quit it, Mom!
Get out!
What I try to do as my life's work is to bridge the gap between the funny artifice that I saw on TV and what I knew was real. And I think that's partly the success of The Simpsons.
Bart's making faces. Where's my lucky red cap?
Your wife is dead. I haven't flushed a bowl in years.
Look, lady, this better be good.
The father figures in American sitcoms tend to be congenial, overweight doofuses, you know, who are trying to do the right thing.
Hey, take a look at it. That clock has stopped. You know, something must be wrong with the power. The vacuum cleaner doesn't work either.
Why, I don't know. I wonder what it could be.
Could it be something that you did when you were fixing the porch light?
No, I just turned off the electricity and fixed the light, and I... You know, it's possible that I neglected to turn the electricity. That's exactly...
With Homer, it's pretty much that, except that he's got more complex emotions. You know, he gets more angry. His emotions are more extreme at either end, and he's really on a roller coaster, and he does really sharp turns. Those are the dads that I knew in real life. And they were happy one minute, and then they were chasing their kids, you know, with murderous rage in the next.
Are you little? Wait a minute. Does this mean you like my present?
Uh-huh.
Oh. Just promise me you won't play any more practical jokes.
I promise.
I grew up in a suburban neighborhood in Portland, Oregon, and my dad had the weirdest job of all. I mean, everybody else's dad was normal and did normal stuff. My dad was a filmmaker and a cartoonist. I mean, that made no sense at all. He made surfing movies when I was a kid. I mean, first of all, Oregon, it rains a lot. How can you make a living doing movies about surfing? Well, he went to Hawaii, and he took us along some of the time. And so right away, everything was like a little estranged from the rest of the neighborhood. when I was 10 years old in 1964, my father and I made up a story. We called it The Story. And it was the adventures of Lisa and Matt out in the woods meeting a series of animals and having little encounters with them. And my father made that into a movie and used as a soundtrack my sister Lisa telling my youngest sister Maggie the story. And he recorded it surreptitiously at night when they were supposed to be asleep. And they were telling bedtime stories and stuff.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl and a big boy. The boy was Matt, and the little girl was Lisa. Then Lisa said, if there's nothing good to watch on TV, why don't we go out in the woods and play? So then they went and lived behind the bush. Then it was a snake, and so then it said, Snake, why do you always go like this? The snake said, well...
The finished movie was shown in Portland, and as a little kid, I got to see my big face on the big screen. It was really fun.
Okay, but I'm going to bed. I'm not going to read this story. Good night. Good night.
My father grew up in a very conservative family, and he was able to escape and make wild surfing movies and crazy cartoons. And then I, as his son, was able to go a little bit further and, and do even wilder stuff. And if there's any one particular person, I think, who made me what I am today, it's my dad. I grew up reading the New Yorker and Punch magazine for the cartoons, and we had cartoon books throughout the house. In fact, let's see, Ronald Searle, an unbelievably great cartoonist. Here's a book called Souls in Torment, which I used to have as a kid. It's really just amazing drawing, and I would scrutinize these pictures, and I was profoundly disturbed by them because very odd things were happening in these pictures. This is one of my favorite cartoons where it's a hotel room and somebody's putting out human feet for the night instead of their shoes. Ronald Searle did a series of cartoons about St. Trinian's, this private girls' school where they really mistreated the girls, and the girls were very, very bad. There was one cartoon in particular of a little girl hanging by her wrists in a dungeon while two middle-aged women look in at her through this barred window and say, "Little Maisie's our problem child." This is a very dark, disturbing cartoon, and as a kid, I loved it. And I spent part of my adulthood redrawing this cartoon in different form. I did this one, it's with my character Bongo. He's always tied up in a room by himself. And there's a little card here with a heart on it, and the two people looking through the door saying, "The little fellow just won't respond to love." Now, this is about child abuse, it's about neglect, and it's about me ripping off Ronald Searle.
No, no, no.
Why, you little...
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
My whole history in school is like, it's just like a downhill slide from the very beginning of school. The first year, I loved it. Once I learned how to read, fantastic. And then straight down. And by the time I got to high school, I was pretty miserable. I didn't like the rules. And, to be 14 in 1969 was the best time to be in high school because all this counterculture was going on. Great music, great anti-war protests. I love people like Frank Zappa and Captain Beefheart and the Fugs, but mostly Frank Zappa. I mean, this album, this is absolutely free. This is his second album, and there's a line in here I got this album when I was 13 years old. There's a line, she's only 13 and she knows how to nasty. And I thought, yes, someday, someday that will happen to me. The great thing for me about the music of Frank Zappa was that he would take all these different styles and put them all together. He was influenced by R&B and blues and Stravinsky and Webern and Indian music, and he put them all together in one big funny mess, and he didn't take anything seriously, and that made a lot of sense to me when I was 14 years old. And I feel very lucky being exactly the age I am. It's just that for a moment in history, there was a bunch of kids at the same time who said, nah, we're not going for it. And what's really great is that after all these years, to find out that, hey, we were right. You know, right now there is no counterculture. You know, as far as getting attention, The Simpsons is it.
Congressman, this is Springfield National Forest. Now, basically, what we want to do is cut her down. As you can see in our artist's rendition, it's full of old growth, just aging and festering away. In comes our logging company to thin out the clutter. It's all part of nature's, cycle.
Well, Jerry, you're a whale of a lobbyist, and I'd like to give you a logging permit. I would, but this isn't like burying toxic waste. People are going to notice those trees are gone.
Congressman, this is where it gets awkward. I never quite know how to put this. I just want to...
Offer me a bribe?
You know, when I was in high school, I was so upset by the grading system and by the unfairness and the rigidity of the rules that I vowed that I was never going to take another test again. And I was lucky. I found this school, the Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington. No grades, no required classes. Unfortunately, when you graduate, basically, you're on your own. I cartooned in college and wrote a lot of fiction, and I edited the school newspaper and wrote a lot of articles, and that's where I met Linda Berry, who's one of my biggest influences, and Charles Burns, and a bunch of other kids who were all alienated. Every creative weirdo in the Pacific Northwest, all like, gravitated towards this school and hung out there. It was fantastic.
We are stardust. We are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden.
Linda Berry was drawing more about what the world was really like, and really funny, and she's absolutely brilliant. At the same time, Charles Burns, also a brilliant cartoonist and probably one of the greatest draftsmen working today, and he does his own take on childhood, which is even more horrific. I think what's great about pop culture and working in pop culture is that you can take media that in the past has been devoted to kids, comic strips, comic books, animated cartoons, and now begin to say some really unpleasant truths about the reality of growing up. I think the appeal of cartoons is their handmade quality. Regular writing that's typeset is edited, and you can't tell how many hands have messed with it. But a cartoon in a newspaper is generally hand-drawn and hand-lettered. And to me, cartoons and newspapers are like little windows. They're like, there's all these gray columns of type of grim reality and unpleasantness, and then you get these little frames of joy. That's what cartoons are to me. handmade, undiluted. What was great about Charles Schulz is he showed that you could work with very few lines and very simple ideas and still say things that actually had some resonance. And I was very inspired by that as a cartoonist. Peanuts is really an amazing comic strip, particularly early on when it was really about some of the grim realities of childhood and about loneliness and heartbreak. I mean, really, when you think about Charles Schulz and his work, it's about unrequited love. Everybody is in love with somebody else who's in love with somebody else, you know? And I think the strip, with as few lines as it has, is one of the great works of the 20th century. I finally got out of school in 1977, and I headed immediately for Los Angeles because I figured, like, you know, here is the center of all the garbage that the rest of the pop culture consumes, and I thought everybody here would be really sophisticated about it. I mean, they've got to, this is where it's made, so they got to know what, you know, garbage it is. And I got here, and the crazy thing about LA is they believe it more here than anywhere else in the world. It's amazing. You know, you talk to people about these movies, and you think that they're kidding, and they really like this stuff. People here really like those movies. They really do. Those TV shows, those lousy TV shows, they're proud of them. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. LA is great if you have a lot of money. I had no money. I had a bunch of lousy jobs. I was very angry and upset with myself and with the way my life was turning out, and so I started drawing a comic strip called Life in Hell. And I did it as a little Xerox, hand-stapled comic book I would do in my crummy little apartment in Hollywood with the sirens and the police helicopters outside, you know, late at night, and I would be just fueled with rage and desperation and existential angst about my situation. Hence the title, Life in Hell. There's a lot of humor in our culture about childhood, and over the years, we're being able to be a little bit more real about what really goes on with children. And the fact is, kids are full of fear. And I try to explore some of children's real fears and real neglect and real abuse, and still try to find some humor in it. You know, the way I started out, I was a huge fan of Charles Schulz and Peanuts, and my friends and I used to draw Charlie Brown, and this is how he came out when we drew him. That was basically the first character I drew. And gradually, Charlie Brown transformed into a character with a big nose and two eyeballs on the same side of his head. They still had Charlie Brown's t-shirt on. Anyway, so, and this character was named Joe. Eventually, over the years, Joe got a fez and changed his name to Akbar, and I gave him a little ear, and then I gave him a twin. And So these are my characters, Akbar and Jeff. My main two characters in Life in Hell are Binky, who is this sort of version of me, very anxious and stressed out. And then he's got a girlfriend who's basically Binky in drag. This is sort of modeled after Minnie Mouse. No, Minnie Mouse is just basically Mickey Mouse with eyelashes and a ribbon. So that's Sheba. That's his girlfriend. And I used to do comic strips with Binky and Sheba and arguing about their relationships. And my girlfriend at the time would go, you know, that's not fair, you know, because you're doing both sides of the argument and you make the girl come off worse. So that's when I put Akbar and Jeff into the strip, two identical creatures, and I'd have them have the same arguments that I was having with my girlfriend, and you couldn't tell who was who. Except, again, my girlfriend at the time said, you think you're Akbar, but you're really Jeff. So I did Life in Hell as a comic strip for the Los Angeles Reader, a little weekly newspaper, and gradually got picked up by other newspapers, and it's up like 250 papers around the country and overseas. I have this theory about what's memorable in cartoon characters, and that's if you can identify them by silhouette. For instance, Mickey Mouse, Batman. So when it came time to create The Simpsons, each character I decided to see if I could draw them and make them identifiable in silhouette. Why? It's Bart Simpson. So, yellow skin, why? Because it looks like there's something wrong with your TV set, and I thought that was appropriate to The Simpsons symbolically. Also, if you're flicking around with your channel changer very fast and you zoom by The Simpsons, there's nothing else that looks like them on TV. So, therefore, we stand out. I looked at Walt Disney's cartoons. I thought, there's no way. It's great, but it's got this kind of rubbery, bouncy thing that I found a little bit nauseating. I mean, it's great, but it's a little, you know? And then there's Warner Brothers. That's like, you know, it's very dynamic and jerky and quick and brilliant. But I thought, no way. The budgets in today's animation, you can't do it. But Rocky and Bullwinkle, unbelievable cartoon. First of all, horrible animation, terrible, shoddy, missing frames, nothing matches, everything like that. But it's got great writing, it's got great voices, and it's got great music. And I thought to myself, that's what you need. You don't need to have great animation. And with The Simpsons, I used Rocky and Bullwinkle as a model.
Well, our heroes are now in Pottsylvania, a country where everybody's a spy and everything's a secret. And what's more, last time when our boys opened the door to their room, they found it in a dreadful condition. Bullwinkle instantly made a brilliant deduction.
Somebody's been in here. I know, 'cause when we went out, this blotter was facing the other way.
All done.
You're not done. I want you to throw away these old calendars and TV guides.
Are you mad, woman? You never know when an old calendar might come in handy. Sure, it's not 1985 right now, but who knows what tomorrow will bring. And these TV guides, so many memories. Gomer upset Sergeant Carter. Oh, I'll never forget that episode.
Stop remembering TV and get back to work.
What's the point of all this cleaning? Are we so vain?
I named The Simpsons after members of my own family. My father's name is Homer. My mother's name is Margaret, sort of like Marge. I have a sister Lisa and a sister Maggie. And I named The Simpsons after them, not because The Simpsons are like them in real life. I thought it would be a funny little conceit. Unfortunately, The Simpsons continues on and on and on. And so my family has to live with, with their unwitting fame.
Well, one of us made some money. I sold a guy our spare tire.
No! My father only complained to me once about The Simpsons. He didn't mind anything that they did. He just was upset one time. The Simpsons' car was got a flat tire out in the desert, and Homer had Marge carry the flat tire back to town, and while he and the kids waited in the shade.
Well, it'll be a long time before your mother gets back with a tire. So
My dad said Homer shouldn't have done that. And I said, come on, Dad, come on. Homer strangles his kids. You've never complained about that. So, but he didn't mind that for some reason. I was a huge fan of animation the whole time I was growing up. The Flintstones and the rest of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons, I was addicted to, and I watched a lot of them, but they were very formulaic and very, again, more in that TV, narrow boundaries and nothing unsafe. And, The Simpsons is in part a reaction to Hanna-Barbera's cartoons. It's like saying, let's take that stuff and let's take it like 10 steps further. And, the audience was ready for it.
Now, don't touch any of those buttons in front of you for a very important reason, i.e., you are wired into the rest of your family. You have the ability to shock them, and they have the ability to shock...
Just testing.
Why, you... No, Homer, not yet. You see, this is what is known as aversion therapy. When someone hurts you emotionally, you will hurt them physically, and gradually you will learn not to hurt each other at all. And won't that be wonderful, Homer?
Oh, yes, Doctor.
Bart, how could you shock your little sister?
My finger slipped. So did mine.
Bart, Lisa, stop that.
No, wait a minute. Wait. Folks, if I can... this is not the way to get healthy! You don't understand, Simpson! People, please! Boy.
The reason why I turned out the way I did is not because of any great positive ambition. I had no choice. I had to be what I'm doing. I'm not, the fact that I got successful at it, that's lucky, that's good. But I would be doing the same thing whether or not I were successful. I just love cartooning and love writing, and luckily I get to do it and get paid for it.
It's the future. My parents, my coworkers, my girlfriend. I'll never see any of them again. Yahoo!
I have got 2 successes with Futurama and The Simpsons. If I do another one, it's like, oh my God, when do I sleep? So I'm considering very carefully. But maybe I'll do Life in Hell in an animated form. I'd love to do that. But I would write the whole thing myself. Okay? Wouldn't that be good?
Great.
Actually, yeah, okay. And then not for the camera. I have this idea for a rock and roll show. I want to do, okay, let's put this on camera. Let's put this on camera. I got these big ideas, okay? But The Simpsons was my idea of the American family and celebrating the American family at its wildest. People who love each other and drive each other crazy. And with Futurama, it's taking the idea of the future and science fiction and doing to science fiction what needs to be done to science fiction. I have this secret project that I want to do. I want to demolish rock and roll. I want to do to rock and roll what I did to the American family, okay? I have this great idea for a show. And even though I've given it away now, nobody knows exactly what I'm going to do. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Now, before we announce the winner of the viewers' vote, here are some more brilliant comedy clips, starting with Springfield's Friendliest Neighbor.
Buenos dias, neighboritos. The handle's Flanders, but my friends call me Ned.
Hi, Flanders.
Idly hey.
Go home.
Doodly-doo.
Howdy-ho, neighborino.
Shut up.
Okay, okay.
Well, howdy doodly-doo. Hello? Hello? Hello-dly-odly.
Since the police can't seem to get off their dufferoonies to do something about this burglarino, I think it's time we start our own neighborhood watch. A Rooney! Yeah! Idly-ho, neighborinos.
Can't talk. Rob, go help.
I got family here from around the globe. Here's Jose Flanders.
Buenos ding dong dilly dia, senor.
And this is Lord Thistlewick Flanders.
Charmed. Googly doogly. God, if you really are God, you'll get me tickets to that game.
Idly-ho, neighbor. Want to go to the game with me? I got 2 tickets.
Why do you mock me, oh Lord?
Hi, diddly-ho, neighbor.
Get lost, Flanders.
Okily-dokily.
Hey, kids, who do you love? How much do you love me?
With all our hearts!
What would you do if I went off the air?
We kill ourselves!
Hello, Alphonse. I've got a riddle for you. Why is a raven like a writing desk? I don't know. Why is a... Hey, the dummy can't hurt you. He's not even alive. He's dead. Now I'd like to introduce a new feature never before seen on TV. Dumb pet tricks. Oh, boy. Here's a dog that's been trained to catch this red rubber ball. Gah! Oh! Somebody shoot it! Somebody shoot it! Hi, kids! Today's show is gonna be the funniest, side-splittingest cavalcade of... I don't know, with a roller cartoon. Here's the deal. Every time you watch my show, I will send you $40.
Checks will not be honored.
It's all part of our Krusty Burger Olympic sweepstakes. Just scratch off the name of the Olympic event on your game card, and if America wins a gold medal, you win a free Krusty Burger.
And cut.
Blah! I almost swallowed some of the juice. Go on, you stupid horse! I got my last $10 on you! No, don't look at me! Run! No, don't come over here! Oh, boy. So, this patch steadily releases nicotine into my body, eliminating my need for cigarettes.
And now, to present the award for outstanding writing in a cartoon series, Krusty the Clown and Brooke Shields.
Well, here we are. The star of the Blue Lagoon, and me, the blue-haired goon. What the... That's terrible.
Ow! Kids, say no to drugs!
I could pull a better cartoon out of my ass. Hey, whoa! Wasn't that great, kids? Hey, Mel, bring me another nicotine patch. I think there's some space on my butt. See you some other time!
The votes are in, and I'm pleased to tell you that tonight you've chosen to see one of my favourites, Lisa's Wedding. Thanks for watching Simpsons Night, but don't go away, because next tonight BBC Two takes you live to a field in Somerset for the music and mayhem that is Glastonbury.
We should thank our lucky stars. They're still putting on a program of this caliber after so many years. What else is on?